A very good morning, dear children. Today we are going to start with lesson number 2, Health and Diseases. This is a chapter in which you will come across a lot of medical terms or medical words. So as I'm explaining the chapter, I will be explaining the meaning of these terms which are frequently used. You have to pay attention so that you understand the entire chapter. We are going to start by understanding the meaning of the title of the chapter, that is what is health and what is disease. Health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-beingness and not merely the absence of any disease. Just because a person doesn't have any disease, that doesn't mean that the person is healthy. For a person to be called healthy, he should be fit physically, mentally and socially. Physical fitness means that the entire condition of the body should be well, which means that disease won't be there and the fitness level should also be appropriate. Second is mental health. Mental health means that the ability of a person to learn, to feel, to express and also to understand and manage his own emotions, whether positive or negative, is mental health. And social health means the ability to form good relationship with others is called social health. So when do I call a person to be healthy? When the person's entire body is working, that is, all the organs are working appropriately and functioning properly. When the person has good mental health, which means that he has good ability to learn, he can feel, he can express, he can manage his own positive and negative actions and emotions, and he is able to maintain very good relationship with others, which means that he is said to be healthy when he is physically, mentally and socially fit. Coming to the next term, diseases. Disease is a word which has originated from French, where the entire word can be divided into two, dis and ease. Dis means lack and ease means comfort. So the lack of comfort is called disease. Disease can be defined as the condition of disturbances in physiological or psychological processes of the body is called as disease. Physiological means what? Physiological disturbance means that when any organ in the body is not functioning properly, which can be due to various reasons. And psychological means any kind of mental disturbances, where the person is not able to concentrate properly on the work given. So, a person is said to have disease when either the organs in the body are not functioning properly and appropriately, or the person is mentally disturbed where he is not able to give his 100% in whichever work is being given to him. That is when you say that the person has a disease. Types of diseases. Diseases can be divided into two types, according to duration and according to reason. According to duration, it is divided into two types, chronic diseases and acute diseases. Chronic diseases are those which remain for a long period of time and they may even recur. Recur means they may even get repeated again and again. Examples: diabetes, asthma, heart diseases and cancer. As you know, these are those diseases which remain for a long period of time and many a times they may even repeat themselves. That is when you say that the disease is a chronic disease. Acute diseases are those which last only for a short time and they come very rapidly or very quickly, like common cold, flu, sore throat. These are those which remain only for a short period of time. That is why you call it to be acute. So, According to the duration, diseases can be classified into chronic diseases which last for long period of time and acute diseases which last only for a short period. Now looking at according to reasons. According to reasons, diseases can be divided into two: hereditary diseases and acquired diseases. Hereditary diseases are those which are passed from one generation to another through defective genes, which means that these are those diseases which are seen in a newborn child. The child is born with the disease because these are genetic diseases, or you can say that there is some kind of defect in the genes, in the DNA or in the chromosome of the child. Example, Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a disease in which the children have difficulty in thinking, in understanding, they have learning disability, and they may even have problem in speaking. This Down syndrome is where the children have one extra pair of chromosomes. Acquired diseases. The word acquired means to get or to obtain. These are those diseases which are not present when the child is born but develops later in life. Like for example, pneumonia. It may also include common cold or flu. These acquired diseases can again be divided into infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. Acquired diseases, as I already told, can be divided into two: infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. Infectious diseases are caused by pathogens. The word pathogen is derived from French, where you can divide the word into two: patho or pathos and gen. Pathos means disease and gen means to produce. All those organisms which have the capability to produce disease in either a plant or an animal or a human is called as a pathogen. So these infectious diseases are caused by pathogens, which may be bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungus, and they are called infectious because they can spread from one person to another either directly or indirectly. The examples are influenza, common cold, dengue. Non-infectious diseases are the opposite of infectious diseases. These are those diseases which cannot spread from one person to another. Example is heart diseases, cancer, diabetes or Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a disease in which the brain cells of a person, they start dying, because of which the person starts declining or the person's thinking ability starts decreasing. This is a table which is in your textbook on page 7. These are infectious diseases examples. We are going to look at infectious diseases one by one. The first we are going to discuss is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This normally spreads from one person to another, and therefore this is an infectious disease. When an infected person coughs or sneezes, there are droplets which are released from the mouth secretions. The large droplets from that settle on the ground within few seconds, whereas the small droplets, they get evaporized. That means they get evaporated, and only tiny mist-like particles remain in the air for minutes to few hours. Now, if a person passes through this particular place, due to inhalation, these particles which may contain the bacterium enter into the respiratory tract, and through the respiratory tract enter into the lungs. These bacterium enter the lungs and they start multiplying in the lungs. The person who has Mycobacterium in the lungs which are multiplying, acquire the disease called tuberculosis. Symptoms of tuberculosis. The word symptom means that indication. Symptoms of tuberculosis means that all those people who have tuberculosis show the same signs, and that is why this is called as symptom of tuberculosis. What are the symptoms of tuberculosis? These people have cough. When they cough, it normally comes along with some stains of blood. So coughing. Second is cough with blood. Third is chest pain. Fourth is loss of weight. Now loss of weight is also called as emaciation. And last is loss of appetite. Loss of appetite means that these people will not be interested in eating. This condition is also called as anorexia. So a total of 5 symptoms are there. First is coughing with blood. Second is chest pain. Third is loss of weight, also called as emaciation. Fourth is coughing, and fifth is loss of appetite, that is not interested in having food, also called as anorexia. Let's look at prevention. How can we prevent the tuberculosis spreading from one person to another? First is stay away from people who you know are having tuberculosis. Second is cover the mouth while sneezing or coughing. Third, clean the home so that if in case there is any person positive, the droplets which remain on certain surfaces, if it is cleared or if it is washed completely, then the bacteria cannot spread from one person to another. Next is washing your hands if in case you are touching on various surfaces where the bacterium is. You have to continuously, by washing the hands continuously, you are destroying the pathogen or you're destroying the bacteria, so it's not going to enter your body. And use personal dishes, that means so that the infection doesn't spread from one person to another. So this is the symptom and the prevention. How do you treat tuberculosis? There is a vaccine called as the BCG vaccine, which is normally given for tuberculosis. Vaccine is any injection which is being given. This injection contains the inactive form of the bacterium. BCG stands for Bacillus calmette-guerin. The word or the name was given to it because there were two scientists, Calmette and Guerin, who had discovered this. So the vaccine is given their name, that is why it's called as Bacillus calmette-guerin vaccine. This is a vaccine, or BCG vaccine is normally being given when the child is born. So we all have taken the BCG vaccine. Other than taking the vaccine, another way of treating it is DOTS. DOTS is directly observed therapy short term. Now this is where there are courses of medicines that are being given to the infected person. Why is the word directly observed therapy given here is because the person, while he is taking the medicine, he has to take it in front of any health worker or any DOTS agent. So you need to take the medication or you need to take the medicine only in front of a DOTS agent. So that is why, because he is observing the entire therapy or the entire course, it's called as directly observed therapy short term. The only way of curing tuberculosis is to take medicines and to take it without dropping any course. Now, if you look at the first row, we have completed with the first row. Let's read it. Name of the disease is tuberculosis. Pathogen, that means it's going to be caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The mode of infection, how is it spreading? It spreads by the spitting by patient through air, and if your prolonged contact means you are in continuous contact with the patient or with the materials which the patient is using. Symptoms, or what are the indications which you normally see? Chronic cough, bloody spitting. Bloody spitting means that when the person is coughing or spitting, at that time there is going to be blood in it. Emaciation, as I told you, is nothing but becoming thin or weak or losing weight, and the person is going to have difficulty in breathing. Why? Because the lungs is being affected by the bacterium. How do you prevent and treat it? BCG vaccine is going to be given. Isolation of the patient. Isolation of the patient means when you come to know that any person is TB positive, the person is isolated, means he is separated from the other people, from the other family members. That is isolation of the patient. And the third one is regular medication like DOT. That is what I told you, directly observed therapy, where there are sets of medicines given where the person has to take it without dropping the entire course. So this is what we just now discussed. Now going on to the next one, hepatitis. Hepatitis is caused by hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C and hepatitis D. This normally spreads through blood transfusion. That means when a person who has hepatitis gives his blood or donates his blood to a healthy individual, the virus that is present in the blood gets transferred to the healthy person. Or it may spread by drinking contaminated water. Contaminated water means the water which consists of either the bacterium or the virus which causes the disease. The normal symptoms which you see in hepatitis is fever, vomiting, pale colored stool. Pale colored stool means the waste of that infected person is going to be grey colored. Extreme fatigue. Fatigue means tiredness. Unexplained weight loss, which again means emaciation. Headache, yellow skin and eyes. Loss of appetite, which means anorexia. And dark urine. The color of the urine is going to be very dark. How do you treat hepatitis? Hepatitis can be prevented by drinking boiled water and by cleaning the hands regularly. So let's look at the second one which we did. The name of the disease is hepatitis, which is also called as jaundice. The pathogen can be any of this, that is A, B, C, D, E. Mode of infection, that is how is it going to get transmitted or transferred from one person to another. If you are drinking contaminated water, if you are sharing the needles with the infected person, or if there is blood transfusion or blood is getting transferred from the infected person to the healthy person, that is how hepatitis can be transmitted. What are the symptoms? I told you anorexia, which means that the person is not eating very well. Yellow urine, which means that the color is becoming dark. General weakness, where we learnt about fatigue. Nausea is feeling like vomiting. Vomiting is there, and grey stool, that is the waste that is coming out. The waste of that infected person becomes grey colored. How do you prevent it? You drink boiled water and you properly clean your hands. Next we are going to start with dysentery. Dysentery is caused by Shigella or Entamoeba histolytica. This normally spreads by eating or drinking contaminated food. So if you are eating any food which has been contaminated or which contains the pathogen, or if you are drinking water which contains that pathogen, then it starts spreading. This is where the common symptom which you see or the sign which you see is, these people who are infected with dysentery will have pain in the lower abdomen, and they are going to be having loose motions or watery stool is going to be there. Again here, how do you prevent it? You drink boiled water, and we also have consumption of ORS. What happens in this is, Because there are continuous loose motions happening, there are important salts that are present in the body, they move out of the body. If the salts continuously move out of the body, or if the ions are moving out from the body, it may prove to be fatal. That is, it may lead to death of the person. That is why, to balance the salts in the body, these people who have dysentery will be instructed to have ORS, or oral rehydration salts. Oral means you're drinking it, that is why it's oral. Rehydration, re means again, and hydration means to have amount of water, to have good water levels in the body. So salts means this solution or this powder has salts dissolved in it. So when you drink this water, what you're doing is you are rehydrating your body. That means you are adding water and salts back into the body by drinking it. That is why it's oral rehydration salts, or ORS it is normally called. So we look at the third one. Dysentery is the name of the disease. The pathogen is bacteria, virus, Shigella, bacilli, entamoeba, histolytica. Any one of these can cause dysentery. What is the mode of infection? How is it spreading? By consumption of contaminated food or water. What are the symptoms which you see? There is going to be watery stool. That is, as I told you, loose motions are going to be taking place, and there's going to be pain in the abdomen. How do you prevent this, or how do you treat it? By drinking boiled water and properly storing your food to make sure that it does not get contaminated, or to make sure that no other pathogen enters the food. And you can treat it by ORS consumption, or oral rehydration solution. We look at the next one, cholera. Cholera is caused by Vibrio cholerae. This again spreads by consumption of contaminated food and water. What are the symptoms you see in this? Vomiting, low blood pressure, diarrhea, which is again loose motions, rapid weight loss, which is emaciation, increased thirst, where the person feels thirsty all the time, and loss of skin elasticity, which means that the skin becomes hard. How do you prevent cholera? Cholera can be prevented by taking proper measures, like maintaining proper sanitation, where you keep washing your hands continuously, by drinking correct amount of water and boiled water, by cooking the food and covering it so that it does not get contaminated, by taking proper vaccinations for it, and to make sure that your surrounding remains clean. So we'll look at what we just now did. Cholera is the name of the disease. It's caused by Vibrio cholerae, which is a bacterium. The mode of infection, of how it spreads, it spreads by consumption of contaminated food and water. The symptom is vomiting, severe diarrhea, and cramps in the leg. Prevention and treatment is by following hygienic practices, avoiding open place food, drinking boiled water, vaccination against cholera. This is what we just now saw. The last one which we are going to discuss is typhoid. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. This again spreads by consumption of contaminated food and water. The symptoms which you see in this is fever, that is high temperature, severe headache, nausea means feeling like vomiting, stomach pain, loss of appetite, which I told you is anorexia, constipation of diarrhea means where the person has a problem in motions, or diarrhea means where continuous loss of water is going to be taken place from the body, and rashes will be seen. For this, to prevent this, there has to be proper disposal of the sewage. That is, the waste water that is generated in the houses has to be disposed of or has to be thrown off properly. It has to be treated properly so that if in case there are pathogens present in it, it gets killed and then it needs to be recycled. And consuming proper water, that is boiled or clean water, is the prevention for this disease. Vaccination should also be taken. So the last one that we discussed was the name of the disease is typhoid. The pathogen, that is what causes it, is Salmonella typhi. It spreads by consuming contaminated food and water. Symptom is anorexia, that is loss of appetite where you're not able to eat anything, headache, rash on the abdomen, dysentery and fever. Prevention and treatment is you drink clean water or boiled water, proper vaccination has to be taken, and there needs to be proper disposal of sewage or wastewater needs to be thrown or disposed of properly. So this is what we learnt. We learnt 5 diseases and we learnt in detail about pathogen, mode of infection, symptom, prevention and treatment. Dengue. Mosquitoes lay the eggs in waterlogged places. Waterlogged places means those places in which water gets collected, and because of this their population increases. There are different species or different types of mosquitoes are there. Anopheles mosquito, Aedes mosquito and Culex mosquito. Anopheles is the one which causes malaria. Aedes causes dengue and Culex causes elephantiasis. Dengue normally is caused by Aedes aegypti mosquito. This disease is caused by a virus that is present in the mosquito, which is called as DEN14 virus, which is of the type flavivirus. The symptoms which we normally see is high temperature, that is fever, headache, vomiting, hemorrhage. Hemorrhage means internal bleeding, where blood starts coming out from the circulatory system and it starts collecting in any one part of the body, that is called as hemorrhage. And pain in the eye socket, that is pain in the eye. These are the symptoms for dengue. Swine flu. Infection for swine flu occurs through pigs and humans. The virus is influenza virus, which affects the pigs. And what happens is that these viruses spread through the secretion of the pig, that is the secretion of the nose, the secretion of the throat and the secretion of the saliva. If a human comes in contact with any of these secretion, the virus spreads from the pig to the human. And the normal symptom which is seen is difficulty in breathing, sore throat and body pain. Detection about this swine flu happens in NIV, that is National Institute of Virology in Pune, and also in National Institute for Communicable Diseases, that is NICD, which is in Delhi. AIDS. AIDS stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. This is a disease that is caused by HIV virus, that is Human Immunodeficiency Virus. In this, the victim suffers from various diseases because his immunity or his fighting power starts becoming weaker. The diagnosis or detection of this disease is done in medical laboratory. AIDS is a disease that does not spread by touching or sharing the food with HIV infected person. HIV was first reported in an African species of monkey. According to the National AIDS Control Program, 80 to 85% of HIV infection in India occurs through unsafe sexual contacts. So here we have discussed about infectious diseases. In the next class we will be discussing about non-infectious diseases. Thank you.